into my world. Won't you come on in?
Hej, mit navn det er Stig Ulrichsen, og welcome to my world. I dag har jeg fået besøg af en gæst fra England. Helt præcis kommer han fra Manchester. Hans navn er Barry Whitwam, og han er trommeslager i et legendarisk band, der har eksisteret i nogle 50 år efter hånden. Da de var i deres storhedstid, ja, der var der faktisk kun 2 bands, som de unge piger overalt i hele verden lyttede til. Det ene band, det var The Beatles, og det andet band var Herman and His Hermits. Welcome, Barry.
Nice to be here with you, Stig.
It's great to see you again, and you are touring Denmark at the moment. And while you are touring Denmark, you stay in your second hometown almost.
That's right, in Randers. We love the place.
You love to be here?
It's a great city.
Yeah?
Yep, and restaurants are nice. Very, very nice city. It's not a city, it's a town, isn't it? Or is it? It's a city.
It's a city.
Is it? Oh, good.
Yeah. It's the 6th biggest city in Denmark,
Wow.
actually. Yeah. But you also did movies. I think most pop groups or most artists back then did the movies. How many movies did Herman and His Hermits do?
The first one we made was with Connie Francis. It was a cameo role that Peter Noone played at some weird kind of character. And we played a few songs in the film. And the film was made by MGM, it's called When the Boys Meet the Girls. MGM did that one. Then when we signed with MGM, they wanted us to do a film, basically just for the soundtrack, so they could release more records. It was fun making it. We made it in Culver City in Los Angeles. And it was called, originally it was called There's No Place Like Space. And we didn't like the idea of that, so we called it Hold On. It was all about the Americans were going to launch a rocket around the world, orbit rocket, and they were going to name it. They wanted the teenage fans, the teenage kids of America to name it. So they had a big petition. They wanted Herman and His Hermits plastered on the side of this rocket. So the FBI was then following us around to see if we were worthy of having our name on an American rocket. And that's how it evolved. It was all mysteries and the FBI chasing us around and daft film. It's good though. It's not a bad film. The soundtrack came out, and then we made another one in London, in Shepperton Studios. That was called Mrs. Brown. They've got a lovely daughter.
Did the movie, was that the title of the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was all about the greyhound dog that the band owned, and we were trying to get it to win races so we could raise some money to buy instruments. The dog was hopeless. In real life, the dog had fleas and it could hardly walk, so Carl Green's always carrying this greyhound dog round. And we raced it, but it wasn't that dog, it was a proper dog that was racing it. And that was a good film, not bad.
So it was 3 movies you made? With
3,
Herman and
yeah.
His Hermits?
2 major ones on our own, and the first one, Where the Boys Meet the Girls, starring Peter Noone had a part in it. And the second 2 we all had parts, acting ourselves. That's weird, that when you get a director that said, I want you to say this, no, I wouldn't say that, and me. He said, no, you wouldn't say that. I said, that's why I would speak. Anyway, we played ourselves, it was good.
Yeah. All the songs Herman and His Hermits recorded in those years, were there any of them where you had any parts of doing the text or the composing of the song? Or was it already always other songwriters who did the songs, and Mickie Most chose the songs and gave them to?
Mickie Most chose the singles. That was his talent. Because he was so good, all the major writers in England were sending their material to Mickie Most first. So he had first choice of all the best writers, and he had the talent to pick those songs and put them with groups in his stable. He had the Animals, Lulu, Donovan, Nashville Teens. And he put the right song with the right band, and then we get in the studio. We record all the album tracks and B-sides, but the singles were Herman and His Hermits plus extra musicians, basically for speed, because we were hardly any time to get in the studios. We were always on the road. So Mickie would say, "I've got a backing track here. Come down and put the voices on it and put some more instruments on it if you want." And that's the way we did it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. All the number ones, though, I must say, in America was just Herman and His Hermits, just the 5 of us. And like Henry VIII, Mrs. Brown, Must to Avoid, just Herman's Hermits.
Now the Henry VIII. It's a little bit different than the other Herman and Hermits songs. How did you come up with that song?
Come on everybody, clap your hands. Right, you're looking good. Gonna sing a song, it won't take long. Gonna do the twist and it goes like this. I'm Henry VIII, I am Henry VIII, I am. I got married to the widow next door. She's been married 7 times before. Everyone was at Henry. Henry! Wouldn't have a Willie or a Sam. No, Sam. I'm a red old man, I'm Henry. Henry VIII, I am. Second verse, same as the first. I'm Henry VIII, I am Henry VIII, I am. I got married to the widow next door. She's been married 7 times before. Everyone was an Henry. Henry. Wouldn't have a Willie or a Sam. No, Sam. I'm a red old man, I'm Henry. Henry VIII, I am. So no.
We're in the studio and we recorded 11 songs, and Mickie said we need another song. So, and we already recorded what we did on the stage. So we've got this thing called Henry VIII. We do. He says, play it. We played it a couple of times and he recorded it, and he couldn't get Leckenby couldn't get the end right. So I said, Mickie said, oh, we'll just record it. Leave that off, and you go down to the pub and Leck will put that on his own. It took him 2 hours. We were in the pub while he did that. And so that was it. That was Henry VIII was recorded. And Mrs. Brown, same thing. Just a throwaway song. We wanted 12 tracks. What else do you do? We do Mrs. Brown. Play it, played it, play it again, played it again. He says, that's it. I says, what do you mean that's it? He says, that's it, it's finished. In the can. Went to sell. It was when it came out in America, it had already had 1 million advance sales when it came out. So it went straight to #1. Amazing. It must have cost about 10 kroners to make.
It's amazing how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the easiest one that becomes the best.
Yeah.
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 Herman's Hermits was known as the nice boys. It was the boys that every mother-in-law wanted their girls to marry, maybe compared to the Beatles and other Rolling Stones, things like that. How was it to end up with an image like that?
Well, that's the way it turned out. We were younger than all the other bands, and our hair was shorter, and we were the kids next door as the image, and we were allowed to drink after the show, but in America you had to be 21 to drink. So and Derek Leckenby was 21, so we send him to the bar, you know, get 4 whiskies for yourself and 4 cokes. We'd have the cokes, and he'd come out 4 whiskies, and the barman's like looking at us, and he'd have to like that, really. Yeah, but the image was clean. We behaved ourselves most of the time.
Yeah, but you sometimes travel around with some of the other bands. That must have been a problem, because I guess at that time they liked to smoke marijuana and whatever.
Yeah, we had the Animals. They smoked marijuana and drank a lot. And we had the Who. They were just crazy. But all these other bands were supporting us. The policy was, when we went to America to do a tour, we'd take an English band with us to try and break them into it. We took the Animals, Wayne Fontana, the Mindbenders, the Hollies, the Who, the Animals, and a few others. And they're all older than us, so there was no respect really. You just think, look at them.
Even you were the stars.
Yeah, yeah, they didn't like it. They could probably play better music than us. Well, their instruments better than us, but we'd had more hits than the lot of them. And one night, this is a very famous story, with the Who in Flint, Michigan. It was Keith Moon's birthday, 21st, and mine within 2 days of each other. So we decided to have a party at the Holiday Inn in Flint, Michigan. And the policy was, by the management, they used to phone up the hotels, don't advertise in your awnings where we're having the Who and the Herman and His Hermits or whoever. So we arrived into town, and there it was in bright lights. Holiday Inn welcomes Herman and His Hermits and the Who and the Blues Magoos. Oh dear, doesn't sound good this. And all the girls used to bring the Herman and His Hermits cakes anyway. Because it was my birthday and Keith Moone's, we had 200 birthday cakes.
That's a lot to eat.
It's a lot to eat. And we hired the Holiday Inn lounge, big room, and they brought all these cakes in, and we're all looking at them. We'd all had a couple of drinks. And Keith Moone stuck his finger in the cream and licked it. Carl Green says, "Oh, you don't eat the cakes. You can't eat the cakes." He says, "Why not? You don't know what's in them, who's made them." We have actually in the past found razor blades, and they don't use flour, use something caustic in it. So don't eat the cakes. He says, "What you do with them?" "Yeah, you just look at them." Then Keith Moone went like that and flicked a bit of cream at Carl Green. So Carl Green had a handful, threw it at Keith Moone right in his face. Keith Moone was just about to pick the cake up, a cake, and throw it at Carl. Carl Green put his fingers in his pockets and pulled down, and his trousers came off. And
Carl Green's trousers or
Keith Moone's trousers.
Keith Moone's trousers.
They just ripped open. And we hired a policeman for security for us. When he saw Keith Moone's, he had no underpants on, and he was a short T-shirt. When he saw his manhood, there's a word for it, he took out his pistol. I thought, well, oh, look, he's going to shoot.
Why did he take out his pistol?
I don't know. I think he'd been drinking as well, the policeman. So he said, "Get Keith Moone out the door quick before he gets into trouble by the police." So Keith Moone, he'd had quite a bit to drink. And three lads grabbed hold of him, took him out the side door, and he tripped over Keith Moone and smashed his face on the curbstone, smashed all his front teeth, and that's the last we saw of him. He was being taken off to a dental hospital to have his teeth fixed overnight. Apparently he was that drunk, they couldn't give him any painkillers, because the alcohol and painkillers wouldn't mix. So they worked on him, and they had holding him down while they were drilling it.
That's poor man.
So the cake fight started then. Within 5 minutes, you couldn't see the carpet, the walls, the ceiling. There was cake everywhere. We were all covered in cake. So myself and Peter Noone grabbed a couple of fire extinguishers and hosing ourselves down with it, which is great fun. Then we decided we'd have a fire extinguisher fight, and running around the car parks, hiding behind cars, firing through the windows. It was a hot day. It was middle of July. The whole place was wrecked. Some of the fans had turned up, and probably some thieves, because all the hotel swimming pool furniture had disappeared. The railing around the swimming pool, there must have been 100 metres of railing, all disappeared. So what we would do with 100 metres of railings? So somebody had been there and stole all that. In the morning when the management checked out, the manager of the hotel presented a bill, and there was some rooms on it, for our rooms. Then there was a bill for damage. It's $25,000 worth of damage. I said, "What's this?" I said, "Well, your boys were, had a fight last night, cake fight, and went fire extinguishers fight. So in the car park, there's about 20 cars needed respraying because the chemical in the fire extinguisher had taken the paint off." And me and Peter realised after a bit our eyes were stinging. It must have been acid. Yeah, $25,000 to check out. Otherwise, if you don't check out, you stay there. So we decided that this trashing the hotel is not a good idea.
No.
It's too expensive.
It's too expensive, yeah. So that's the reason why many bands was adorned to hotels in the future, because of Herman and Hermits splitting up hotels.
We were banned. We had a lifetime ban at Holiday Inn. Head office wrote to us and said, "You never stay at Holiday Inn again."
So now you stay under another name when you go.
I think they've forgotten about us now. We don't trash rooms anymore. Too much.
Yeah, it has been fun. Young boys out owing the world and everything, traveling around. You kept on making new records, you kept on staying on the charts, and you said something earlier about that Peter Noone wanted to change the name, so it was Peter Noone and Herman and Hermits.
Yeah, he decided.
When did that happen?
He wanted to go into acting, and he wanted to change the name of the band to Peter Noone with Herman and His Hermits. And that's how it was, the last year, that's how all the concerts were billed. We made a couple of records. One was Lady Barbara, that was Peter Noone with Herman and His Hermits. And it's November the 5th, 1971, he decided he was leaving the band. And he gave us a year's notice. So it's fine, you know, we'll go our own way.
And what was the reason for him to leave the band? Did he explain that?
Yeah, he said the group vehicle, as it were, you know, being in a group is holding him back, because he wants to be a solo singer and he could get better jobs without 4 other guys in a band behind him. And he changed his manager to a guy called Michael Grade, big fella, you know, big organisation, the Grades in London. And he suggested, you know, confirmed, you know, the group's finished, you know. So off he went and did TV shows on his own. And we made a record called Whale of a Tale. And unfortunately, it never got released. It was a great album, really good stuff on it.
And where did you? Was that still Mickie Most who did?
No, we did that ourselves in Strawberry Studios, owned by 10cc up in Stockport, Manchester.
Did you replace Peter Noone with another singer, or
Yeah,
was it one of the?
We got another guy, and it was a bit off the wall. He was Peter Cowup. Had a really gruff voice, had a beard. He looked nothing like Peter Noone. And I think the audience, because it was so different, didn't really like what we'd done.
Did you still have the same management like in the early days, or did you also change management when Peter Noone left the group?
We were still with an agency called Kennedy Street, but that didn't last long. Once Peter left, we found another agent. I can't remember who it was, but we got another agent. And
you never thought about, okay, if Peter's out of the band now, we do something else, or you just knew right away that you other guys want to continue?
No, we went on a university circuit with this new album. It didn't work out. The money was not good. We've got families to look after. The money wasn't good in the university circuit, and people recognised us anyway. You know, what are you playing all this new stuff for? You know, Herman and His Hermits, kind of us, No Milk Today. Play Mrs. Brown. So we couldn't get the credibility for the new stuff, so we decided let's go do what we do best and play Herman and His Hermits music. So we got on the cabaret circuit in England. The singer Peter Cow, he couldn't really handle wearing a suit and a dicky bow, because he looked a bit like what's his name, fetish, the Australian Crocodile Dundee, that kind of clothes. So he had to leave in the end. He was getting a bit drunk, so he couldn't do the shows. Then we got somebody else in, a guy called John Gorn. He looks a bit like Peter Noone. Made a couple of records with Roger Cook and Greenaway. That didn't work too well. Then the old management and agency came up with an idea of a revival tour in America. And so me...
What year are we in here? What year are you in?
1973.
Okay.
Peter Noone. It was Peter Noone with Herman and His Hermits, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas, I think it was Wayne Fontana, and it might have been the Searchers. And we went to America and did this 3-week tour. It didn't do well. No, a lot of empty seats. It's too early for a revival. And then we had a tour manager who liked what we were doing, just not Peter Noone. And he said, I can get you some gigs in America. You know, some, not big gigs, but, you know, big rooms, big-ish. So fine, yeah, let's do that. So we went across, did 5 weeks in America.
And was that without Peter Noone?
Without Peter, just ourselves, as Herman and His Hermits. And it worked. And then in England, recession kicked in, disco kicked in. And there was only, the working week was only like 3 days a week now, because of all the strikes. There was no work in the cabarets. So we decided we'd just work America. And we'd go over for 5 weeks, 42 days. We'd work and come home for 4 weeks, go back again, work 42 days and come back for 4 weeks. We did that for 9 years, just work in America. But in the meantime, 75, Peter Noone wanted to rejoin the band. And we heard the terms, and said, "What?" And I think we were going to pay 10% each for the Hermits each, and he'd get 60. I said, "Well, why would we do that? We're on 25% now each. Why would we do that?" And we didn't like the terms. He said, "No, you're Peter Noone, we're Herman and His Hermits." Went to court, and 3 Hermits, Carl Green, Derek Reckin and myself. Keith Otwood had already left by then, so we had a court do, and we won the name. A judge in England said, "The 3 of you are Herman and His Hermits. One guy can't be the whole band. He's Peter Noone, you're Herman and His Hermits." Fine. So we didn't like that. So he got a tour. He booked a tour in England as the day before we were going to America for one of our another tour. They're back together again, Peter Noone with Herman and His Hermits. Oh, and the first show was in Manchester. So we had to hire a lawyer, put an injunction on all his tour. He got a lawyer in America, put an injunction on us in America. And that's when it all started, suing each other.
It was a mess where only the lawyers earned a lot of money.
That's right. A big mess.
How did you settle all this up?
It's settled actually in 2003.
It's a long way.
Yeah, there's a lot of money was wasted in between. But when Derek died in '94, I carried on, and he was suing me. I was counter-suing him. In 2000,
When did Carl Green leave the band?
he left in 1980. He had to come off the road. He wanted to raise a family. So then there was just me and Leck out the original band, and he died in 1990. There's a lot of dates here. 94. So I just carried on, got him replaced, and still doing battles with Peter Noone. And in 2003 we decided if he worked in America, he could work Herman and His Hermits starring Peter Noone, and if I wanted to work in America, it'd be Herman and His Hermits starring Barry Whitwam. That was basically the end of it. We could have done that with a phone call.
Yeah.
I spent nearly £250,000 worth of law bills from the lawyer for me. I don't know how much his was. Probably a lot more. And that's pretty good so far. That's the way it's been.
Yeah. And you...
Took a walking past your house late last night. All the shades were pulled and drawn way down tight. From within the dim light cast 2 silhouettes on the shade. Oh, what a lovely couple they made. Put his arms around your waist, held you tight. Kisses I could almost taste in the night. Wondered why I'm not the guy whose silhouettes on the shade I couldn't hide. The tears in my eyes. Control and rang your bell. I was so let me in, or else I'll beat down your door. When 2 strangers who have been 2 silhouettes on the shade said to my son, "You're on the wrong line."
And you've been Herman and His Hermits all your life almost, since
Yeah.
you were, was it 18 years old when you
18
started
years
out?
old. And,
So it's a long time being a Herman and Hermits. Have you ever thought about doing anything else on the way? You never get tired of playing the same hit songs over and over?
I enjoyed playing the music, and during our sets we play a little bit of somebody else's music, and it's good to see the audiences react to the songs. It's the adrenaline rush every night playing, seeing the people enjoying themselves. If I did something else, they probably wouldn't enjoy it. So somebody's got to do it, and I'm the man for the job.
Do you still have contact with some of the other old members from the original lineup of Herman's Hermits, or is that...
No. It's Peter Noone went to America, lives there, does his own tours there. He comes to England about once every 5 years, does a tour as Peter Noone. And Carl Green lives down in London. Keith Otwood, never meet up with them anymore. Maybe once in a while at somebody's funeral. Went to, whose funeral did we go to? Mickie Most's funeral. That's when the four of us were there. Keith Otwood, Carl Green, myself and Peter Noone were all there. Didn't talk that much. I think Peter's still very bitter. I still carry on as Herman's Hermits.
And you still have a lot of good memories together from back then, you know.
It was superb when we were in the 60s. It's always been superb for me. I've always had a good time. But as Herman's Hermits, it was good. Had a lot of fun.
And about these Herman's Hermits, just before we end the program here, you are Herman's Hermits all over the world, and Peter Noone can call himself Herman's Hermits featuring Peter Noone in America, and when you're in America, you have to call it Herman's Hermits featuring Barry Whitwam.
That's right.
Is that correct? Understood?
Yeah. But we haven't worked at the States since 2009. That was the last one, and the agreement was broken by other promoters in America. They put just Herman's Hermits and tiny little Barry Whitwam at the bottom, and it was all supposed to be in the same type. So Peter started again in 2009, started to sue again. So I said, oh, just leave it with you. No, I don't.
You have the rest of the world. You're touring.
Yeah.
All the year. You know, Australia, Europe. I don't know where. Australia, you do Europe, New Zealand.
Yeah, this year, Belgium, New Zealand, Australia, Norway, Denmark,
Germany,
and a big tours of England, 60, 70 shows a year, and a thing called the Sensational Sixes experience with other English acts.
So you're very, very busy all the time, and you still enjoy all the traveling and all the concerts.
I love it.
You're 70 years old now.
I don't feel it. I feel 80. I know.
Have you ever had any thoughts about, okay, my wife wants me to stay home a little bit more, or things like that, that you want to say, okay, now I've been playing those drums enough, now I just want to relax and read some books?
No. I've got everything I need when I do retire. I've got all the fishing stuff, I've got a big railway set, you know, a toy railway I want to build. Got all the engines, the track, but no time to do it. I play golf, but no time to play golf. I love boating. I'd love a sailing boat again. But when I retire, one day maybe, I'd have to do that. I'd have to be busy all the time doing things. I couldn't just sit there, you know, going down with my wife to the supermarket. I need to be action all the time.
Something has to happen. I know, I have noticed when you are on tour that you like to read books. Have you ever thought about writing a book about your own life?
Yes, I have. I'm about 2/3 of the way through. It starts off in before Herman's Hermits, when I was a child. It starts how I got interested in playing the drums, and I'm going to really seriously get it finished this year, before it's too late. Yeah, it's good. It's good. All funny things I've done, all the anecdotes of daft things. It's going to be good.
There's something to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find a faster way of writing it. I'm doing it, you know. I need to get somebody to help me.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe find a ghostwriter or something like that. Barry, thank you very much for giving yourself time to come into our little studio here and talk about your life with Herman's Hermits.
It's been my pleasure. Really has.
Thank you. Og dermed nået frem til vejs ende af Welcome to My World i denne her uge. Jeg håber at se jer alle sammen igen i næste uge. Tak fordi I kiggede med.
Welcome to my world.